Hey guys, I'm going to show you guys how to make a really simple menu system. One of them is being just simply hiding the menu. The second one being able to move it out of frame, just like that. And the last one is making the menu fade away. Before I get started, the map I'm using here is the template for the classic obby. You can find this in the studio by going to template and it'll show up here as classic obby. So that's the template I'll be using. To make our menu, head over to Storage GUI, add in a Screen GUI, and inside of that Screen GUI, we're going to add in a frame. For me, by default, my anchor point is 0.5, 0.5. So once you have that, just go to position and do 0.5, and it'll center in the middle. And for the size, I'm gonna just scale it to 1, and make sure you're using the X scale and the Y scale. And for the background color, this is where you get to customize it however you like. I'm gonna go with, let's say, some orange, I guess, yellow oranges, and go with that. And I'm going to rename the frame to menu. And inside of the menu, we're going to add in a text label. This is going to be our title, so I'm gonna rename it to title. And I'm just gonna scale this out. Oops. And I'm going to drag the menu about this big. I'm going to make my background transparency to 1 and scroll all the way down to text. I'm going to change the text to welcome to my classic hobby exclamation mark. Okay. And I'm going to customize the font here. You can choose any font you like, but this is what I'm going with. I'm going to change the text color to white, and yep, looks good to me. And in the text label, I'm going to add in a UI stroke. Add up 2, just so it pops out. And in the menu, I'm also going to add in a text button. I'm going to scale this out, make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to keep the background transparency, and I'm going to change it, make it green. So the play button. And I'm going to rename this to play and scroll down. And just like before, uh, name for the text is going to be play. You can customize the font to whatever you like. This is what I'm going with. I'm going to also make the text color white. And what I'm going to do is just grab the UI stroke from the title, copy it, and paste it into our play button. And I'm going to duplicate that and change the apply stroke mode on the second one to border. So we have this nice outline on the button. And yeah, I believe that is it. Next thing we'll do is start scripting this. So I'm going to be putting my script, my local script inside of the menu. So in the menu frame, I'm just going to add in a local script and I'm going to start working on the code here. So first thing we want to get is the variable. So I'm going to save UI variables, make a comment there. And first thing I'm going to get is the menu. So local menu equals script.parent since the menu is above the parent. And we're going to get the play button. Play button is going to be the menu. Do a wait for child on the play. And right below, we'll do play button, that mouse button, one click, connect, function, and we'll do menu that visible equals false. And so once we click play on this and do play, the menu will go away. But one thing you might notice here is that when we click play, we have this gap on the very top. And if we click play and our character dies, the menu shows up again. And that's not what we want. So to fix that, what we'll do here is go to the screen GUI and we'll enable ignore GUI inset and disable reset on spawn. So if we go ahead and click play again, as you can see, it fills all the way on top. And we click play, and if we were to respawn, the menu doesn't show up again. One thing I'm going to be doing to my menu is I'm going to add in a UI gradient. And in the transparency, click on the three dots. I'm just going to make one in the middle here, just so I can see the obby just so the player can see the obby when they join. I think this looks better. So after you've done that, if we go back to our script, I'm going to be giving you guys the other two ways to make the menu disappear. So what we're going to do here is make a function called local function hide. And what we're going to do here is just copy this and paste it in here. And we're just going to call the function right here. So you can test this, play, still works the same. And now we're going to be working on the move where once we click play, it'll move out of the our frame and then disappear. So what I'll do is local function move. We're gonna move it by the x, which is gonna be a number, and the y, which is gonna be a number. So what this is that the x is going to be what moves it left and right, and the y is what it's going to move it up or down. So here we're gonna do, if it doesn't pass in the x number, we're gonna do, it's gonna be the x number or 1.5. That means it's going to go down. And for the y, it's going to be either the y value that's passing or 0.5, which is just going to stay in the middle. So here, oh, this is opposite. I meant to do this. So this makes it go down. So what we're going to do is make a variable called local tween. And before we can make our tween, we got to add in a service here. So at the very top, I'm going to add a comment in saying services, where I'm going to do local tween service equals game get service tween service, like that. And now back into our move function. What I'm going to do is finish this up by saying local tween equals tween service create menu. And since we want to move this, I'm going to say tween info.new. It's going to take about a second. And this is where we move the position. So I'm going to say position equals udim to dot from scale x and y. Okay, and below I'm going to say tween play, and once the tween is complete, we're going to do tween dot completed uh, once. We only want this to play once. If you wanna, you can also do connect. That also works the same. But since this is only going to run once, I'm just going to do here. We can do function and hide. This is one way to do it, or we can just pass it in here instead of doing the function. So we just do say hide. And so we want to comment this out and we want to call the move. So by default, it just goes down. So even if you don't pass anything here, go ahead and click play and play. As you can see, it moves down. And if we pass in a value, let's say we want it to go right, I'll do 1.5 and 0.5. So we keep the y in the middle. So now if I click play, it'll go to the right, just like that. And you can play around with this, but if you want to go to the left, do negative 0.5 and click play. There we go. And so that's how you would move the frame out of the way. And once it's like completely out of the way, it'll hide it by making the menu not visible. Now to our final one, which is making the menu fade out of screen. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to comment out this move function. And we're going to do local function fade right underneath the move function. And what we're going to want to do is we can just copy this. Basically, instead of moving the position, we're going to do background transparency. And we're going to set to 1 so it like hides away. And we can test this out. Just go add in the fade function inside of play button and click play. And we click play here. As you see, the background goes away, but our text, they still stay on there. So that's what we're going to work on. And we can do that simply by doing, I'm going to put it inside of here or in between them. I'm going to do, since it's a lot of, well, for me, there's only two, but once you scale up and there's a lot of components or UIs inside of the menu, we're going to do a for loop. So we're going to do for I, UI, and menu, get descendant. And we're going to check if the UI is what we have is a text button. And if it's a text button, I'm just going to copy this tween service here. And we're going to, since this is a text button, we also have the background transparency and the text transparency that we got to make transparent. So here, instead of adding in passing through menu, we could do UI, since that's the UI, and background transparency. At the very end, do play. Copy that. We can change this to text instead, like that. And also for a title, title doesn't have any background transparency. We just need to do the text transparency. So below we can do an else if UI is a text label. I mean, if you do have background transparency for your title, we can just copy this just like that. Or actually, we can just do if the UI is a text button or UI is a text label, just like that. So we go ahead and play this. Click play. Our text disappears, but at the very end, you can see that outline, and that it is our UI stroke. So we also have to do a we also have to do a tween on these to make them go away or fade away. So we'll do else if UI is a UI stroke, and just copy one of these, and oops. And instead of text transparency in our UI stroke, it just says transparency. So remove that. If we go ahead and click play, as you can see, everything fades away. All right, so one last thing we gotta add is if you can go ahead and click play, as you can see, while the menu is still up, you can still move around. So we're gonna disable that and not allow our player to move around while the menu is visible. So at the very top, we're going to need some new service. We're gonna do local player equals local players equals game, get service, players. And we're gonna need the local player, which is gonna be local player equals game players dot local player. And we're going to need the module. So I want to make modules local player module equals require local player wait for child player scripts. And we're going to do a wait for child for the player module. And here we can do you can add to a variable. I'm going to do local controls equals player module get controls. And at the very bottom, here, when the game starts, we're going to disable the movement. So we're going to do controls, disable. And if you go ahead and click play, you'll see that you're not able to move your character. You can still rotate your screen, as you can see, but you won't be able to move it. And we want to give our player back our movement once they click play. So inside our hide, we're just going to do controls, enable, and go ahead and click play. Right now we can't move or jump. Click play. Once it's done, you can freely move again. And that is the end of the video. About 15 minutes long. Hope you guys found this helpful. And if you guys want other tutorials, just leave it down in the comments and I'll try to make them whenever I have time.